Hi everyone, it's Dr. Ryan and this is Natalie. Today we're going to be talking about Twitter's rebrand. It's kind of wrecked the internet in a lot of ways, and we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, the ugly. Natalie's going to take the side of why it's a bad move, and I'm going to be taking the side of why it's a good move.
So I guess first we can just talk about a little bit what happened in the past week or so. From what I read, Elon Musk said back in October of last year that this was his plan.
Yep.
And I think people don't realize that he's been planning this for a while. That buying Twitter was an accelerant to creating X, which firstly with the name X, not my favorite personally.
Yeah. So, and I actually have a problem with the name itself. There's two things I have a problem with is the name and the logo. I'm going to take the positive side still. The name, is it still Twitter or is it the name going to change? Does he own X.com? It gets real, he has a problem he has to figure out there. I don't think he's changing the name Twitter, as far as I know. He's just branding the identity will be X.
But that would sound off to me because Twitter is associated with tweeting and the bird and all of that. So it's if you're gonna change it, then I would think, I thought he was changing it to X. I thought Twitter wasn't gonna be a thing anymore.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. I think he wants to gain more verticals, in a sense, the banking and finance, the payment, because his background's in payments. I think it was with PayPal. So, in purchasing the $40 plus billion purchase, I can see why he did it. I don't think most social media companies are going to be sustainable going forward. And I'm including Meta, I'm including Facebook, Instagram, I'm including even LinkedIn. It's really hard to be sustainable financially with providing just a check mark for whatever, $10, $15 a month. So he's looking as I'm buying X amount of users, X amount of users to say, I'm going to have to re-engineer the business model holistically. And that's the one thing that's my favorite part about it, is he's looking at it not as a tweeting social media platform. He's looking at it as what else could it be to make it where it makes sense financially. So that I understand. But go ahead, you go with things I
just wonder why he would, if he's taken into account, what percentage of users would just kind of leave.
Yeah.
I don't know what that amount is.
Yeah, I think that, I agree with you that there's going to be percentage of users leave. I think that it almost balances out. A lot of people left. A lot of people were done with Twitter just because of the...
Well, he was doing so much with the censorship and all that. It sounded like he wanted to make Twitter a certain way, and then he's scrapping the whole idea now. He was, with the blue check mark thing, and then with the censorship rules, and so now it's kind of I thought you were trying to do something with Twitter.
Well, see, I think the censorship thing, it's so stupid, because before he bought it, people were saying censored. After he bought it, people were saying censored. I actually think censor is a loss. I think that no matter what, some people are not going to be happy with the new, because they had I think it was a team that would review content and censor it. Mm-hmm. I'm a proponent of nothing should be censored.
And he fired all those people.
But I'm a proponent of that there shouldn't be censorship unless it goes against, here's our principles and values. And I think that he's trying to implement things like active use of drugs, obviously anything that's legally breaking the law. I think he's trying to get pornography included. So those are the things that I'm okay with everything that he's trying to implement. With that said, that wasn't the way it was before. I mean, Twitter was pretty much, I wasn't tweeting much because it was toilet. It was toilet. As far as all social medias, platforms go, I thought Twitter was the worst. Mm-hmm. With what he's trying to do, I could see where, okay, that could be better. I'm actually on it much more actively than I was before. But back to your point of how many users left, how many users gained, I honestly think that's a wash. I think that there's going to be a lot of people that come back to it to give it a try. News and education hasn't changed. Based on what all the big channels for news, all the big channels for education, they're still there. They're still tweeting. They're still very active. There are obviously outspoken politicians, celebrities that are screw it, and they leave for 3 months and then they come back. But that's always the case. They just get upset about that. So I think that's a wash. I think that the design. Let's talk about design.
Yeah, I mean, as far as design, the logo looks like something I've seen a million times before. It looks like, from what I researched, it looks like a font called Monotype.
Yep.
and it's just, I don't know, it's not innovative, it's not original. You know, the Twitter logo, the bird, like went through so many different lives and phases that it looked terrible back in 2006. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. Yeah.
But you know, it got to a solid point, and like it makes you feel a certain way. And now it's just very kind of cold and sharp and like, you know, not exciting really.
Yeah.
I feel like he could have. And I think the way that he went about introducing it to people was also just very jarring. It's just like, no, Twitter is dead, X. Yeah. Like, this is it. And, like, people don't like change. I mean...
No.
You know?
No, so I agree with you on almost every one of your points. I think that the Express logo, it's literally like, you know, there's, I think the app, I'm on Express. I love their clothing. It's an X. I mean, if you just download their app. If you look at, what's the other one that Gloria called out? The... Armani Exchange. Literally, it's an X.
Yeah.
So there's all these things that really he's running into. However, I can say this. What social media platform is an X? There isn't any. You see what I'm saying? So that's where it's like, well, okay, he's unique in the space of social media platforms. My biggest complaint is you look at Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. The common denominators are all blue. A different shade of blue, but they're all blue, and they're annoying. And so that's what I love about Instagram and some of the other ones that are like, they're not blue. Snapchat's yellow. TikTok. So they're all blue. So I kind of like that he is literally saying, I'm going a new direction with it. And I can appreciate that. I wish you would have spent more time on the X. I've seen some renderings of like the X actually still being a bird, which is kind of abstract and kind of cool. So I can kind of see that, like the cross or the wings, kind of cool. But I think it's kind of...
It just looks like he paid like...
I know.
Freelance designer from like
one
website like $50 to make something.
No, I agree. No, I think he went and bought that
something I could have made, and you know.
And that's where I wish they would have spent a little bit more time on the actual wings to make it look like, okay, it's still Twitter, because I think it's still Twitter. I mean, I guess my biggest question is it still Twitter?
That's the thing, is they're not really answering a lot of questions. Like they just kind of rolled it out and threw it in our face, and it's like, we want to know, like, what are you doing with Twitter? Like, are we still tweeting? Like, what's going on?
I think it was one of my favorite memes of this whole thing was Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not sure if it was true or not, but someone posed as Mark Zuckerberg and said, I'm officially renaming Threads as Twitter now that it's available. Like, it's funny because, like, yeah, that's kind of what is Elon Musk. Is he really losing the clout and the credibility and validity of Twitter to do this new thing? I don't think he is.
He didn't even give us a vision for this new thing. We don't even know what he's trying to do with it.
And I agree with those things. Hard for me to defend it because there's a lot of things that I'm like, oh, what are you doing? He still has his user base. I would say that I think it's more active than it was before. I'm just going to say, I think it's more active. Can we do some research on that? Is Twitter more active? Are there more users? Has it grown since his purchase?
I did actually look at that. Like you mean like the users?
The user, like active users. And here's the thing, he cleaned out, I think, millions upon millions of bots, which I loved, because I would get hit with bots. That's why I turned off Twitter. I couldn't take it anymore. It was like, do this crypto, do this NFT, and it's like, that's all I got all day long. It's like people set up bots, put them on auto, and they ran rampant. So I love that he cleaned that out. I guess my question is...
users have kind of
leveled?
Stayed, mostly around the same, but I think when he first bought it, they went down.
They cut down, yeah.
So
let's get a data set on that, guys, to post as part of this this content, because I think that would be interesting. Like, is it doing better? I know advertisers have a lot of advertisers dropped off. Initially, he hired the new CEO. She's awesome. She's fantastic, and she's supposedly going to bring tons of advertisers this coming year. But to be determined on the financial. I think users, it's probably going to be a wash. Like, there's not a huge surplus.
So you think that he kept Twitter and didn't just create a new thing because he wanted to keep the users?
To start a new year's, no. Twitter's it's been, how many years? 10 years plus. There's no way to restart a social media platform. You're dead. I mean,
I wouldn't
you can't
see
just
how
grow.
Twitter could do anything else other than just what everyone else has been doing, which is like incorporating shorts or reels or something similar.
Well, and see, that's what I like. He's positioning it where he can do whatever he wants now. Like, and believe me, I get it. It's like, well, why wouldn't you keep doing what's working? Is it working? Like, that's my question is Facebook, is Instagram working? Or are we just kind of like mindly, dumbingly, dopamine, swipe, or is he saying, hey, let's actually make it, let's make it actual functional? Because Facebook Marketplace is a disaster in my opinion. I know people are like, oh yeah, but I get all my crap there. Well, yeah, but it's crap. And also, how do you How do you buy stuff on Facebook? You literally, it's so like, I hate it. You go to someone's house, you put money in their door. Like, it is so sketch. We don't even do it anymore because it's like, it's just not, I don't think that's a good platform. I think there should be a conduit. And with Musk's kind of background, I can see him bringing in a payment platform. He can bring in some PayFac where he could bring in that and make it where it's integrated with Twitter. That is, I think that's an open market. If you look at Cash App, who owns Cash App? Is it Meta? Cash App?
Cash App is
I want to say,
owned by
or is it,
Block Inc.
Okay, who owns Venmo then? I think Venmo is at like
Oliveira.
who's Venmo? So we probably know this.
Mm.
Venmo is owned by PayPal.
Yeah.
So I could see him kind of saying, "Hey, look at how successful Venmo. Look at Cash App. Look at all these ones that are those PayFacs. Why can't I create something that already has this huge user base and go?" And so I think that the rebrand coincides with it. The design.
It should have been a question mark instead of an X. Because.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? We don't know. It's a mystery.
I still abstractly I see it as a bird. I do. And I saw someone do a rendering. Oh, you don't see it as a bird?
I definitely
do. I do. Yeah. No, look at the open wings, the open X is the wings. You don't see that? Come on. You don't see that?
And one of those very modernist abstract
very modern
paintings.
Well, and so here's the thing. If we think about Musk, I think the Tesla.
He likes the letter X. We know that.
He loves their letter X. I also think the Teslas are not good design. I don't like the exterior of the design. I think they're ugly. Do I own one? Yes. Are they ugly? Yes. Do I think the Cybertruck is hideous? Yep. But guess what? He doesn't give a rip. Like, that's what I kind of like, well, okay, cool. Like, and people are buying it. Tesla has been by far the most bought electric car since the beginning of electric cars. So I think he kind of just, he doesn't really care what people think, clearly. And I think he's like, you know what? I want to rebrand this as something that I could do anything with. And yeah, that's kind of where I think he's going. So, okay, other things that you think are abhorrent?
Well, I think that now the site is requiring people to log on to view tweets and profiles. Like, usually anybody can go to Twitter and just like search someone, but now you have to log on, which is interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. It's almost like secret.
It's like close. data. Well, no, I think it's more about data mining too. Because
I think that's why he did it.
I think if you have to log in, they know who you are. You have a Twitter account, so I think that's actually. I actually don't mind that.
Well, he also said.
I guess my question is then, how would you? I guess they're gonna have authentication where you can embed tweets based on who you're logged in as. Like, how would that affect? If someone let's say Wall Street Journal wants to put in a tweet from a politician, can they embed it? Is that content still viewable?
This is more about like I can't just go onto Twitter as somebody who doesn't have an account and just search for like a business or something.
Okay. I think I don't mind that too much. I don't know. I guess there's probably a reason they did it. It has to be data mining. They're gathering data of people that are logged in, and yeah.
Right. I mean, they also said that he wanted to restrict daily post viewings for unverified accounts.
Yeah. Okay.
Which was interesting.
Here's the thing. For the betterment of humankind, I love that because I think that especially with TikTok and Snapchat and all these other platforms, people are literally.
I don't think that's why he's doing it, but because he said he was doing it because of it's a temporary measure that was taken because we were getting data pillaged so much that it was degrading service for normal users.
Okay, I can see that.
So
I still think I don't
think he cares about us like that.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I agree. He probably doesn't care about us like that. I love it. I think that it's almost like he's baking in a timer for the app where it's like, go outside, go have a life, plant a garden. Like I'm a huge fan of control of content absorption and limiting how much people absorb. Like, it's just, come on, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm not going to mention names, but there's people on my network that spend literally like 18 hours a day on their phone. That's not healthy. Like, literally, that's detrimental to your health. I'm sorry. It's like, so I'm not okay with unlimited everything. I think there's enough content, and do people have lives anymore? But I mean, I know it's a bigger problem. It's a more of a social media and how we consume content. But I think that limiting how many tweets. I've never had that. I'm not on Twitter much, I guess, but
that's what he plans to do. Is like unverified accounts can only browse for a certain amount of time.
I would love that. I'm okay with that. So I think that's a good litmus test for everyone. But anyways, that's probably a different topic than Twitter rebrand.
Another fun fact: Musk's move wiped out anywhere between $4 billion and $20 billion in value. That's a big range, but according to analysts and brand agencies. So I guess it's like a risky.
Oh yeah. So you're talking about the rebrand or just the?
Yeah, his move.
So I don't agree with that. But let me put it this way: I think him purchasing at 44 billion? Someone do a quick?
It was 40 billion.
40 billion. That's overpriced, I believe. I think that's overpriced, but whatever. I mean, Facebook, before they became Meta, bought Instagram for $1 billion. Can someone fact check me real quick, live? How much did Facebook purchase Instagram for back in 2015? Whatever. Was it $1 billion? So I think Twitter is more in the $1 billion valuation. Like, back then, people were like, Facebook paid $1 billion. It was like all this big news. Even with inflation, I think that Twitter, 40 was it 44 or 44? 40.
It was 40.
40. I think 40 billion is stupid. I think that's a stupid number. So the actual, but when you have more money, he has like, isn't he almost $1 trillion value? So like, that's kind of like, okay, that's like 4% of it. Like, that's like nothing. Like, okay, like he can do that. And to be honest, it's probably not even his money. So I think that the valuation, yes, a rebrand, you always take that risk with a rebrand that you're gonna piss people off, you're gonna lose customers, you're gonna do this. I still think with where he wants to go, I actually think it's the right move. Well, and that's sincere. That's not me just taking a position. I actually think it's the right move.
I think he's seeing what like Zuckerberg did with Facebook, and now it's Meta, and then he has all these weird ideas about metaverse and all this stuff, and buying Instagram, and I think he's seeing that, and he's kind of thinking like, why can't I just take something existing and completely change it? Yeah. So
no, I think that Threads was like, what, a month ago was Threads became a thing, which is stupid. But I honestly think that was a big lie, because they said, we've got, these many 100 million users in the first 24 hours. Literally, it's people that download the app and say, use your Instagram login. Those aren't new users. I mean, it's such, like, it's a total... It was snake oil. That was not Mark Zuckerberg building a platform from nothing to 500 million users. That's not done nowadays.
And he also did the black and white thing.
Yeah, I mean, come on. So it's like, I don't think that Zuckerberg actually has that many users. Those are maybe Instagram users. But let me ask this: how many Instagram users are there? Can somebody do a quick fact check on that? Is it like
2.35 billion?
2.35. Okay, so 2.35 billion. How many Threads users are there? So he should have close to 2.35 billion. And so that's the number that we should be comparing to, because it's not like someone is out there on their own saying, ooh, I'm going to go start a Threads account. It's just, no, they're going to use their Instagram. I don't know. I have a feeling that Threads will be kind of a fall through the floor on Zuckerberg. I don't think it's a good move. I also think Meta, I question that move. But also think about all these like unoriginal names. Meta, X, whatever X is. What did Google did? Alphabet? Like, how unoriginal are these upgrades, rebrands? Alphabet, Meta, X.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of...
I think people are just kind of... Because when Facebook changed to Meta, there was a lot of talk about that, but it wasn't as much as this. I think people like to pay extra attention to like whatever Musk is doing because he's more controversial and just like, he's like a bigger figure in that sense. But really, yeah, it has been done before, like Google and Instagram, and I mean, it's been done before.
They're all doing it. They're all kind of...
What's next? YouTube? I mean...
And also, is there someone in the room that said, hey, X is a bad idea? I hope so. Because I just don't like... If it's not a abstract bird, which I agree with you, it's kind of rough to make that assumption, that leap. But if it's not, then what's your point? Are you actually like... I saw someone reading here that it is literally evil. Well, okay. Do we think that? Is Elon Musk evil? I mean, like, that's a lot. That's a reach to say it's evil. Is he erasing something iconic, someone's saying here? I actually agree with that. I think the Facebook was always an F. It was stupid. Okay, it was like dumb. Even when it was only in education, it was very, I don't know. It was just basic. Twitter with the bird, the rebrand of the bird, I think that was the most recent version, was it was cute, it was fun. But man, it's like to go from bird to X.
It's kind of almost like a depressing look at the future of like, is this what everything's gonna look like now? It's just like black and white and colorless and cold, and is this what brands are gonna be doing? Like, why are we just gonna all turn into robots and you know, just like the McDonald's that are changing from red and yellow to like depressing corporate colors? Like, why is this, you know, we still want color, or is this like, it's kind of like they're pushing towards this trend that's more like sharp and modern and all this
Well, that's why I think the Cybertruck is hideous. And if we look at Musk as a spearhead of a brand, I do think the Cybertruck is it's so unique looking.
It looks like something out of the Terminator.
Yeah, it does. It looks like you'd see it, you know, in the battle of all the robots, and the Cybertruck comes over, and that totally makes sense. But hold up, this is like, who is their target audience? I guess we should ask that question. Who is this rebrand targeting? And I don't think, you know, the Twitter bird aligns with financing and banking and all that. Now, does an X do that? A black and white X, to your point? You know, that's tough. It's a tough sell for me. I just think that, you know, when I'm thinking of from a design standpoint, when you put it on someone's, you know, business card or website or some type of print ad, and you're going to see like Facebook blue, Instagram colorful, LinkedIn blue, and then this X. Like it just...
They'll probably all eventually change to be more just...
minimalistic.
Boring? I think it's boring. I think like that's really sad for like if design is going to turn into just this like very bland black and white, like where's the color? Like
I feel like we've gone through
like are we, you know, it's too techy.
That's what it is. No, and let me ask you this, do you think we're going through a stage of, we were kind of like, I'd say back in the 90s, it was more like grunge and splatter and everything had texture, heavy texture. Then we went through pastels. Then we kind of went through, you know, gradients for forever. I feel like gradients are kind of, you don't see that much done anymore. You still have some brands that are kind of holding on to it tight. But is this the next evolution of design?
I think it is. I think it's Apple has been kind of in that direction for a while. And there's a lot of like, all the big companies, you know, they're pushing towards this like very techy look.
Minimalistic tech.
Yeah, minimalistic tech, dark theme type of thing, robotic looking. Just it's kind of in line with like crypto, AI, like all this other weird tech stuff that's coming to
us, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, basically, and that's what I feel like he's catering to this certain group of people that are like into all that stuff, like NFTs and crypto and like electric vehicles and all this stuff. People who like technology. Yeah. And I don't know if everyone's ready for that. People will probably still use it if it's, you know, a good enough platform, but
it is weird for me when I get a notification now and I don't see the blue little bird, I see X. It's like it is kind of like, huh. Like I almost it jars me. So I see where you're coming from.
But you can still tweet and everything, right?
Yeah. Everything's still. I mean,
for now.
Yeah, I mean everything's the same for me. I'm gonna say that my experience has only gotten better using. Not even using since the rebrand. I'm saying for last year, I've had a better experience with Twitter just because of the bots. Literally, I put it on silent. I didn't turn on notifications because I couldn't take it. About maybe 6 months ago, I turned on notifications back on because I think they even do some where they only notify me of like top news or something in their algorithm where I don't get notifications for everything. But so I think that from a technology standpoint, as in the Twitter's social tech stack and the way they built their platform, I think it's much better. The branding, to be determined. I'm going to say it's to be determined. I think that I kind of see why he did it. Do I get it? Yeah, I even get it. Do I think it's the right move? That's where I kind of agree with you, is that, man, should they have kept some color there? Would have helped. I know they put this, didn't they put it up on their building?
It's not part of his personal brand.
It's definitely not his personal brand.
It's not his style.
No, it's not. It's not. Did you see the logo up down in, isn't it San Fran? Their logo on the top of their building. Oh. It's like pulsating, glowing. Yeah. And that's where I kind of see that people are saying it's evil. Like I can kind of see it. It's like almost like a drumming.
Scary.
Yeah. It's like it is. Yeah. It's a little much. Okay. Anything else? Any other notes, thoughts?
No, I think ultimately we'll see how it goes, but I do agree that Twitter has kind of become a little bit outdated and needs a change. I don't know if this is the right change, but I think he'll probably end up figuring out a way to make it appealing to people regardless.
I think you will. That's the thing that, listen, I was not a fan of Elon Musk. Even I'll never forget, I was hanging out at a friend's house and he's like, oh, I love you. He was a huge Elon Musk fan. This was probably maybe 7-8 years ago. And I was like, really? I don't like I just didn't like him as a person. Mm-hmm. And I know it's weird. I don't know him, but I just didn't like kind of what he was doing. I thought SpaceX, I'm like, it's never going to happen. I thought Tesla, no way. I've come full circle on all that. I actually believe SpaceX is very cool. I think it does, the whole exploring space needs to be privatized. I think that it's great what he's doing. I think that he got a lot of his wealth because of government grants and the way he did things. Very business savvy and smart, but he has pushed much further along everyone when it comes to space exploration. When it comes to electric cars, he owns the market. I'm sorry, people always talk about, Ford had a great year or whatever, and it's like 1% of what Tesla does. So from a car standpoint, I just don't think that anyone can doubt him when it comes to that. I think that to be determined on Twitter, I just don't.
He's in a lot of different industries now.
Yeah.
He's in like everything.
He's in everything. He's in everything, yeah. So I think it is the right move. I know it's kind of hard to swallow. I thought the bird was cute.
I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to start his own like newspaper or something. Not newspaper, but like journal, like media company or something like that too. Like.
Yeah, well, I think Twitter. I think he kind of.
Because he kind of seems like he's into the.
Yeah, I think Twitter. I think Twitter is his push into that market. I don't think he needs to buy. I think the Wall Street Journals, the New York Post, I think the LA Times, the New York Times, I think they're all scrapping to stay relevant. Mm-hmm. I think social media is where people go for news. And I remember we had a copywriter a couple of years back. He would say, I just go to social media for all my news. I'm like, really? And I kind of looked at him like, are you crazy? And he was like, oh yeah, I don't use old news. Mm-hmm. And he said old news. I'm like, yeah, you know what? CNN, MSNBC, Fox. Really? That's gross. Like I don't intake any of that content anymore. So I think that he doesn't need to buy a media company. He has influence to do whatever he wants and ability to do whatever he wants with Twitter/X, whatever he's going to call it. Has he changed the name, like the business entity name, or is it still Twitter?
I don't know.
Like, is that
the website redirects to like x.com is
x.com? Really? Yeah. So he did do x.com. Wow, that's
he formally changed it in April. X Corp.
Wow.
Oh.
That's great. So yeah, it's going to be x.com. Yeah, that is dark.
Yeah.
Well,
it's weird, but yeah. All right.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our debate. I don't know if it was debate, but our talk on Twitter and X. I'm not sure what we should call it anymore. It's weird. But hope you maybe learned something, and that let's see what happens with Twitter. I think that it is a right move, but I totally understand from a design perspective that it's very risky. And I think that we'll see I'd say not even the next 5 years. I think within the next 6 months, we're going to know if it was a good move or not, or if it was a stupid move, or is he selling it for $250 billion? Who knows? But I just do see that innovation needs to happen in social media, and I think that rolling out a clone of Twitter, aka Threads, is stupid. I think a rebrand is risky, and we'll see what happens. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk with you soon.